The Mesopotamians were the first astronomers to make long-term, written records of astronomical findings. They built ziggurats for observing the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. They also created a 360-degree water clock. The clock consisted of 60-part minutes and smaller 60-part seconds.
The Egyptians developed a calendar based off the alignment of stars and planets. Their temples were built based on the setting and rising of the sun and of bright stars. For example, the temple at Karnak was built to be aligned with the rising and setting of the sun during the summer solstice.
Stonehenge is aligned with the winter and summer solstice. The Stonehenge is also aligned with 12 other major solar and lunar events. Edward Duke was the first person to connect the Stonehenge to astronomy.
The Chinese recorded their observations of eclipses, meteor showers, stars, and comets. Although a lot of the Chinese records were lost over time, their findings have great value in today's astronomy.
Thales was the first philosopher. He used the Little Dipper and the North Star for navigation. Thales also used Egyptian geometry to find the distance from ship to shore.
Pythagoras developed the first model for the solar system. He was the first person to reject that the Earth is flat. Pythagoras proposed the idea that the Earth is not stationary and moves around a center point. With this concept, Pythagoras developed the second idea that the universe is in celestial harmony.
Babylonians found patterns and regularities in the path of the moon and the sun. They also discovered each planet's synodic period. A synodic period is the time between conjunctions of a planet with the sun.
Aristotle created the idea that all celestial movements are circular. He studied science and philosophy. Aristotle also developed the idea that the world is composed of 4 elements: fire, earth, water, and air, meaning that the earth will always fall to the ground and fire will always rise to the sun.
Aristarchus used ancient geometry to aid him in astronomy. By using geometry, Aristarchus found the moon's linear and angular diameter. This technique was later improved by Hipparchus. Eratosthenes used geometry to calculate the size of the Earth. He invented a system of latitude and longitude. He also created a calendar that contained leap years. This calendar was based on the stars. Also created was a catalog of stars that had 675 listed.
Hipparchus did most of the work alone, on an island. Unfortunately, none of his major works survived through the years. He discovered the precision of the equinox and compiled the first systematic star category.
The Egyptians, the Mesoamericans, aligned their monuments with the sunsets, sunrises, equinox, and the solstices. Planet Venus was extremely important to the Mesoamericans. Battles were planned with the position of Venus. Tables were also developed to better calculate the placement of Venus.
Ptolemy was one of the last great astronomers of antiquity. He built a system that could account for the motion of the planets. He presented his astronomical findings in tables, and Ptolemy was able to present physical models of the entire universe.
Most Arabian astronomers did their work in cities from Spain to Central Asia. Islamic astronomy was well protected throughout the years, and most of the broken findings can be reconstructed today.
Copernicus proposed the first fully developed heliocentric model of the solar system. He invented a geometric planetary model of the eccentric circular motions. Copernicus built his own observatory. In his model, the sun was in the middle rather than the earth. Before this model, many of the astronomers believed that the sun moved around the earth.
Brahe opposed the heliocentric model that was created by Copernicus. In 1572, Brahe observed a supernova in the constellation Cassiopea. This supernova was brighter than Venus and remained visible for a year and a half. After observing a comet 5 years later, he originally thought that the disturbances had something to do with the atmosphere. But after doing more research, he found that the disturbances never changed in relation to the stars around it.
Galileo was an astronomer who found and charted many new stars. He also discovered why the Milky Way glowed the way it does. Galileo also believed that the planets, including the moon and the sun, were perfect spheres.
Kepler created 2 laws of planetary motion. The first law states that a planet moves on an elliptical orbit. The second law states that a planet moves on an imaginary line.
Newton had 3 laws of motion. The laws included the laws of inertia, law of force, and the law of action and reaction. Newton also created the laws of gravity. These findings have had great influences on today's science.
Edmund Halley was an astronomer, geophysicist, and a meteorologist. He is best known for computing the orbit of the Halley's Comet.
Edison was a theoretical physicist. He developed the theory of relativity and also conducted the 2 main pillars of modern physics.
Niels Bohr studied modern physics for most of his life. He is best known for his substantial contributions to the quantum theory. Bohr won the Nobel Peace Prize for his structure of the atoms. Wolfgang Pauli proposed the quantum number idea. The Pauli exclusion principle is a quantum mechanical idea that was developed by Wolfgang Pauli.
Werner Heisenberg developed new theories in quantum mechanics to find the behavior of electrons. He also created the uncertainty principle, which supported the impossibility of knowing exactly where something is and how fast it's moving.
Edwin Hubble was the man who discovered that we aren't the only galaxy. He established the field of extragalactic astronomy to continue the study of the other galaxies. The Hubble telescope was also named after him.
Lemaitre was a Belgian priest, astronomer, and professor of physics. He created the theory of the exploration of the universe.
Robert Oppenheimer is considered to be the father of the atomic bomb. He was an American nuclear physicist and the director of the Los Alamos Lab.
Fred Hoyle defended the steady-state theory of the universe. He's also known for one of his main theories of the stellar nucleosynthesis.
This was an American physicist who discovered the reason behind the cosmic microwave background radiation, and his partner Wilson was an American astronomer who created the Big Bang model of creation.
Armstrong was the first man to walk on the moon. His partner Aldrin walked on the moon, created the cycling space transportation system, and the reusable rocket boosters.